In this video, I will show you how to add a language panel to rootsTrust's extended keyboard. The language I have chosen to add is Welsh, which, like English, uses the Roman alphabet, but in addition it has 3 sets of accented vowels. There are 7 basic Welsh vowels: A, E, I, O, U, W, and Y. And there are 3 accents: acute, circumflex, and grave. So 3 times 7 is 21. So we have to supply 21 lowercase accented vowels and 21 uppercase accented vowels. Even though the limited number of characters we have to define will all fit on a single pane of 51 buttons, 3 rows of 17 here, I'm going to set up an uppercase panel and a lowercase panel so you can see how it is done. So let's get started. So first I click on Options, then Preferences, and finally Extended Keyboard. Now I click New, and it scrolls down to the bottom of the table for me to the new empty entry. Notice that the checkbox in the Include column is checked. This means that the new language panel that I'm about to create will be included in the combo box on the extended keyboard form. I double-click the name field of the new empty entry. The field is now in edit mode, so I enter the name Welsh. Now I can start entering characters. Many of the Welsh characters exist in Gaelic and French, so I'll use the extended keyboard to enter them. So here's the panel for Gaelic, and I'll start entering uppercase characters here. First, the acute accent. A, E, I, O, U, and then down here we have the grave accent. A, E, I, O, and U. I'll change panels to French to pick up the circumflex accented characters. A, E, take, E, I, O, and U. Okay. Neither Gaelic nor French has the accented W and Y characters. I have them on a separate text file in another window, so I'll copy them from there and paste them into the buttons. So I'm not going to do all of them now. Now that I have most of the uppercase characters in, I'm going to establish a lowercase panel. I do that by putting an X in button number 51 as a marker, and then I step off of Welch to save the entry, and then you can see it appear. There's the X. I'm going to click back on there and add another X in there to make 52 characters, and then click, step back off of it, step back on. Now we have a lowercase and an uppercase panel. Since I have more than 51 characters in the entry, it knows to create a lowercase panel. So we can click on lowercase and we have almost an empty panel. So I can go back, or I'll just get rid of this since we don't really need the X, and I'll enter the circumflex lowercase a from the French panel. Where is it? There it is. So this process of entering all these characters in here is going to take a while. So in order to save time, I'm going to cheat. I have a complete entry for Welch that I created in advance in this text file here. I'm going to simply copy that and paste it into this table entry here. Replace what's there. Step off of that, step back on, and there we have the complete Welch accented set of accented vowels. There's the lowercase, uppercase. So now I can enter and close this down, which will save everything. Now I can enter Welch characters by opening up the extended keyboard, and there's Welch, been added, and I can start typing characters. Notice that the extended keyboard works just like your computer keyboard or a typewriter keyboard, in that the buttons have uppercase letters on them. However, when you depress a button, you get a lowercase character, just like with your computer keyboard or with a typewriter. If you want an uppercase character, you have to hold down the Shift key. Then you get uppercase. Otherwise, you get lowercase. So Welch sometimes uses a diaeresis character to indicate that a vowel is to be pronounced separately when it occurs next to another vowel. This can also be done in English as well, though I haven't seen an occurrence of this in many years. One example that comes to mind is zoology. Zoology can be written this way with a diaeresis over it. Notice that I just added 2 dots over the second O to indicate that it's to be pronounced zoology rather than zoology. As I said, this is very seldom done these days in English, though it used to be more common. But apparently in Welch it is fairly common. So I added this diaeresis combining character to this Welch character set, so that people who need Welch characters can use the diaeresis character if they need it. There are other combining characters that you can use, and you will find them in the Windows character map and the Linux character map. Strangely, the combining characters can be used on Mac OS. However, they will display properly on Mac OS, but for some strange reason they are not exposed in the character viewer app of Mac OS. So let's go back to the preferences form briefly so that I can show you something. Let me get rid of this text here first. Go back to the preferences form and let's look at Hebrew, the Hebrew character set. Let's look at it here in the table entry rather than the buttons. Notice that some of the characters here have square brackets around them. These are compound characters that are composed of a base character plus a combining character. See this, I don't know whether you can see it, but this character, both of these characters have little dots above them. This one has one on the left and this one has one on the right. This character here has a dot in the center. The character next to it is the base character. Here's another one that has a dot in the center, and here's the corresponding base character without the dot. These are the ones in the brackets are compound characters, and the square brackets are put in there by rootsTrust to indicate to itself that these are not two separate characters, but two characters that will combine at display time. So you should know what that means. You don't see the square brackets on the screen. These characters down here are combining characters. Hebrew, classical Hebrew did not write vowels. They only wrote consonants. However, in modern Hebrew, they do write consonants, but not the way vowels, but not the way we do in English. They are a series of diacritical marks that are placed above and below the consonant characters. And people who know Hebrew know how to use them. And these characters down here on the bottom row are the combining characters, some of which are the vowels of Hebrew. I don't know how to use them, but people who know Hebrew will know how to use them. While we still have the extended keyboard panel open, I would like to point out that you can restrict the contents of the combo box on the extended keyboard form to include only those languages that you use. So I'll go through the table and deselect the language panels that I don't use. So let's go up to the top here. I don't need Albanian or Armenian or Bosnian or Czech, Finnish. I do need French. I don't need Gaelic or Georgian. I do need German and Dutch. I don't need Greek. I don't need Hebrew or Hungarian or Icelandic or Italian or Latvian or Lithuanian, Maltese, but I do need Polish, not Portuguese. Romanian, I don't need Bulgarian, I need Serbian, no. Oh, Scandinavian, I do need that. Slovak, no. Spanish, no. Symbols, I'll leave them in there. Turkish, I need. Ukrainian, I don't. Vietnamese, I don't. Yiddish, I don't. And Welsh, I don't. So now I'll close that down. And now I'll open the extended keyboard and let's look at the combo box, and you see that the only entries in the combo box correspond to the panels that I left selected on the preferences form. Before I finish, there's one more thing I would like to show you about the extended keyboard. That's the always on top checkbox. Always on top. Always on top means exactly what it says. When this option is selected, the extended keyboard window, when active, is always on top. So if I select, I can't make that go away other than closing the window. It's always on top, no matter what other field I click on. This is a dialog box here. I have to close that before I can click on another. So I click on another field here, and the extended keyboard still stays in the foreground. This is particularly useful when the extended keyboard window has to overlap the rootsTrust window, because the resolution of the video display is not high enough to allow you to park the extended keyboard window above the rootsTrust window, out of the way. I can do that on my video. You can't see it on my video, on my screen. I have enough screen resolution to allow that. But on my Mac Mini, on my MacBook Air, I can't do that because the rootsTrust window fills up most of the screen. So let's see what happens when we turn that checkbox off. So it's not always on the top. Now when I load the extended keyboard and I want to click on a field to enter a key, the extended keyboard disappears. So it can be very frustrating. So I have to put it over here to the side, and then I click on the field, and then I can click back on here. That's a real nuisance. So that's what that option is for. So this concludes this demo video. Make sure to watch the video on shortcuts, another way of entering characters into rootsTrust that are not on your keyboard.